Good morning. It is May the 20th, and we've had blustery winds for the last pretty much week, blowing 25 gusts into 30, 35, so I wasn't able to make that video. So I put up a little windbreak and block off the sun, see if I can show you how I make these little small versions of a small Dutch bucket to hold like a medium-sized plant. That way it'll have a little bit of a reservoir to hold some nutrient in case your pump goes down and your plants don't immediately die. On a few of these systems, on these rails, I have nutrient running them on all the time, and so when the pump goes off or runs out of nutrient, they immediately start to wither. Luckily, I catch it pretty quick, and they come back. Be a good excuse to have Brock uses pH balanced reservoir to continually keep your nutrient bucket full. But haven't got that far. Don't know if I have the room. Definitely something I'd like to look at doing. Then you have to get you either have to dump your solution and totally remake it, occasionally every week or you have to get a BPM meter and try to keep some type of grip on how much fertilizer is left in that solution when you're adding just straight water to it. So I just try to measure how much water I put back in, and then mix the nutrient according to how many gallons it takes to refill the bucket. And occasionally I'll just run I'll just add water and pH balance it, because I can shut it off to my plants and just mix it while I pH balance it. And that way, because I kind of worry that the nutrient solution can become toxic if the plants are just taking water and not absorbing the nutrients. So I think if you don't have the capabilities to get rid of the nutrient completely, which, like I said, I live on water and I'm not going to dump it in the ocean. So I got to figure out a way to use it. I'm thinking of dehydration, evaporation through the maybe get it down low enough where I can pump it off and then pour half a gallon or so in some buckets and just let it evaporate, and then just take whatever dry material is and get rid of it. Or maybe line the bucket with a bag and then just throw the bags away. But anyway, down here, especially in South Florida, with the Everglades and all the farming we have that drains off into the water, it creates the algae and the seaweed and the weeds grow very prolifically because of being bombarded with fertilizer. So we don't want to add to that at all. So anyway, let's get started on this thing. I got the pieces here. This is a piece of 3-inch pipe, PVC. I bought, you can buy a 10-foot stick and cut it in, whatever length you want, wherever many you want. I've been doing these about 12 inches, and like I said, it gives enough room for the roots to grow for like a 30 or 60 day or maybe even 190 day plant. Like I said, depends on, like I said, I don't know. These things get root bound, but having this nutrient on them, it's like a whole different kind of idea. I mean, it's just, our strawberries, we actually pull them out about once a month and trim the roots to keep them from choking the small pipe. Okay, so this is the basis. This is going to actually be the bucket, the big part. It's not very big. I have done a couple of 4 inches. The issue on the 4-inch is this piece. This piece for this 3-inch pipe is a little bit over $2. For a 4-inch pipe, it's close to $8. So, that just gets to be a little bit more than I'm willing to spend. I have used those test plugs, like little flat plates, and but then you have to figure out a way to come out of that with your pipe to go into your to set your reservoir. And this is just easier. And like I said, I'm gonna give it a shot. If they're too small, I'll do something else. But you know, we test, we learn, and whatever. And it's worked in something like that. Our habaneros, you know, they're probably going on probably 4 months, and they seem fine. And you know, and they're in the 4-inch. You know, they're not in the 3-inch, but I think they would do fine in the 3-inch. We do have a 1 pepper in a 3-inch, and then the eggplant is in the 3-inch, and also all the squash are in 3-inch. So I don't know. It depends on the life cycle of the plant. You know how long it goes. I like the lettuce. The lettuce grows in 30 days, so you know, a small reservoir. This is a piece of 1.5 inch drain waste vent pipe. It's not made to be under pressure. In most cities you can find it, because you know, the difference between this and regular Schedule 40 is a few bucks a 10-foot stick, and so people bidding jobs would want the cheaper stuff. Down here, I actually bought the last 3 or 4 sticks they had. They were getting rid of it at the depot, and not replacing it. Apparently, it was being on closeout, and it was $3 a stick. So I went ahead and bought like 4 just to be able to get it. And this piece, this is 1.25 inches to a 1/2 inch bushing reducer, and it fits perfect inside that pipe. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this into here, and we'll just go ahead and do that. The standard PVC glue. I don't use a cleaner or anything, because really, you know, cleaner you need to use for pipe that's dirty or something like that. So we're gluing in the inside, so we just need to put a little bead on the inside, and then I'm going to put a little bead. The only place it touches is on this shoulder. I'll just put a little bead there, and it really doesn't matter if it leaks or not, because it can leak. That's not a problem. And then we're going to put it in this way, put it down about flush, and there you go. So that's that. That's what's going to hold our 1/2 inch pipe here. That's going to tell how high our reservoir is going to go, how much, a little bit of a reservoir we're going to have here to hold water. So this piece will go into here, and then when we have that, then we can put whatever size pipe we want to, and we won't glue this in. We'll just cut to whatever length and we'll push it in there. I'm not going to do it right now because the glue probably hadn't set. So that's that. Get that out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this into this 1.5 inch opening, because that will leak, because this shoulder's on the outside. Anything that's on the inside, like this 3-inch pipe that goes inside this really deep coupling, I don't glue, because you know, if it backed up, starts dripping out there, then you have problems you need to deal with. Your roots are clogging your drain or something, and also lets me knock it apart and clean it real easy. But this being on the outside, it can leak, so we're gonna glue that. Again, I just put a little bit on the inside, try to keep it from being so messy, and run down the pipe. And it has a big shoulder, and there's no pressure, so. And that's all we do. And I would like the reservoir on this to be about so tight to that. So I'm going to take a little bit off this. There's no science to it. You can do what you want to. I use this cutter. This cutter is like $13, so if I find them cheaper on the internet, it's worth buying for cutting this stuff. It doesn't make any sawdust or anything. So I like that one. I would like to get a bigger one, but you know, you get one big enough to cut like 1.5 inch and 3-inch stuff. You know, you start spending some money. So there we have that. So nutrients gonna fill up to here before it overflows. I don't put anything on top of this because I want to be able to stick something in through the bottom if it gets clogged and just clean it out. If I put a T or an L or something up here, I won't be able to do that. So we'll have to do that. So to complete it, all we have to do is knock that on. And there we go. That's a completed thing. This fits into our drain return line. We'll fill this up and put a plant in it. The bottom of this I use lava rock for these. It's cheap and it takes up some volume, but that will kind of block that hole a little bit, and then we'll put a and you reuse all this. So basically, it gives me a little foundation for the paint strainer bag to sit on, and then we'll I don't know if you can see that or not. Doing all this blind, kind of crazy. And so that'll do that, and then okay, to this point where you've got this tube with the fittings on it and everything else, you probably have tops $5 invested in this piece, probably less than $5. And as far as what you put in it, I mean, if you have access to pea gravel or any other inert product that's organic, or doesn't have living stuff in it. I mean, I live on this island, and I could probably figure out how to make my own, what they call it, coconut or whatever, because there's coconuts everywhere. Pick out the dry ones and just peel it back, and you get that hair. If you live up in the south, you probably get some sphagnum moss. Put it in a black bag, put it in the sun, sterilize it, let it get hot, let it kill everything, then dry it. Whatever you have, you could probably fill this for almost free. I have perlite. I'm still working on my first big bag of perlite that costs about $17 at Depot, and you reuse it. It doesn't really go away. You try to make sure that the old stuff is out of it. So anyway, I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. Oh, my painter's bag blew away. So here's a paint strainer bag that actually came out of one of the cherry tomatoes we were using. I'm going to stick it down in the hole. Stick it in the pipe, in the tube. And it's going to be a lot bigger than this for this application, so it'll be hanging out. And I'm going to put some perlite in it. The perlite's a little damp. It's a lot easier to work with when it's damp because it's such a dust maker. We'll put the perlite in the bottom. And then this is a small bell pepper that I bought down at Home Depot. Had on sale for $2 a piece, and I just figured for the the age of it and ready to grow, that it would be a good plant to be a good investment. Because like I said, it should last a good while and produce a lot of peppers. I pay 80 cents to a buck for every bell pepper I buy. So about 3 of them I'll make my money up on that. So anyway, I'm going to get the dirt off of it. So I got a bucket of water here, and I'm going to tear this off. Yeah, I thought I was. Get a pair of scissors. No, I'll take a wrapper off. That'll make that take the tag out. And just get it wet where it'll really come out. Unfortunately, this is pretty not really delicate to get all the dirt off of this. It kind of shocks the plant, but I really don't want a lot of dirt to get into the hydroponics, because there's no telling what's living there. Keep watching it. It's got, coming from a nursery, it's got perlite in the dirt. I'm getting about as clean as I can. Try to be kind of gentle. I'm going to just have my hose up here, but I don't, so I'm going to spray it off. But there's that. So that's the plant. Roots fairly clean. We'll place him down in here. Let's take a hole in the paralight, and then fill it back up. I pan a little bit low, that way it's got good support. The roots will straighten out. And that's it, it's ready to go in the system. So we'll just sit it in the drain, put a dripper line on it, and that's it. You know, if I didn't show up very good, I'm sorry, but you know, trying to. I'm not sure if I set up a monitor where I can see what I'm doing. It's kind of difficult. But there it is, and it's going to go over there where that standpipe is. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. I'll go where that standpipe is, right there. So I need to stick it in there and I'll show you. So there's in its hole. I'll probably take a large tie wrap. Like the tie there, and go around it, keep it from blowing and moving around and maybe jumping out. There was a pea up underneath this, a purple pea underneath this squash. It wasn't getting any sun. So I was able to move some drip lines around and didn't have to make a new drip line. Drip lines are easy to make on this irrigation system. You just poke a hole in it, put in a adapter, and hook up a line. So that's all there was to that. So there it is, and it's May the 20th, and we'll see what it looks like next week. I'll do a little scan around, show you what everything else is looking like. That's the habaneros in their tubes. The okra behind them, getting big. I don't know how long they're going to last in that rail. That's not what that was intended for. The herb tower, we had a nutrient failure, so they wilted yesterday. One of the basil's coming back. I think it'll all come back. We'll see, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see on that. That's one of the tomatoes. They're growing like crazy. The eggplant, you know, still growing, but no fruit. The squash looked a little bit better. I did find out that the squash may have been shriveling up. It was saying that if the female blooms came out before the male, that it would produce fruit, but then they wouldn't get big. So maybe that was the issue. And there's strawberries, still making a few strawberries. I feel like starting to increase a little bit, but like I said, we're probably going to have to pull them, about time to pull them and trim the roots, you know, when they start leaking. I'm definitely going to put those. I think I'm going to go to the 3-inch box and put a riser on it where they have more room for roots. And also the box, the vertical size of the box, keep it from sagging. So we'll have to see. And then these tomatoes, this one here is growing about, I don't know, seems like we're growing about 6 inches every couple of days. This one's getting a little bit bushier. It's kind of turned into a 2-stem. And we'll go into the sun. If I can get nothing. Whoops, sorry. And that one there, very bushy at this time. I'm going to tell how many stems that has. And the beans, which are supposed to be growing over the top of the boat, aren't yet. So I don't know what that is. We'll see. But the wind's been crazy. I don't know. I'm sure. You know, I know. Quite a few YouTubes from the UK where they have these allotments that they rent, and I know they all protect their vegetables from the wind. So I'm sure wind burn or whatever has got to be a factor. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. Got any comments or suggestions, feel free to leave them. And cheers. Have a great day.